And the city of New Orleans has now begun recovering from the deadly attack on New Year's Day. The Sugar Bowl was played. Bourbon Street is open, but more challenges await with the city set to host the Super Bowl as well as Mardi Gras in the weeks ahead. Congressman Troy Carter, who represents New Orleans in the U.S. House of Representatives, joins us now live. Representative Carter, thank you so much for joining us on this busy day on Capitol Hill. You know, we're now more than 48 hours removed from this attack. More information has come out about these alleged perpetrators, but what other questions do you still have?
Well, you know, first of all, I want to thank you and thank our local, federal, and state law enforcement for responding so quickly, providing resources to the people to demonstrate that we can rebound, that we can protect our people. A special thought and prayer goes out to those ones who lost loved ones and to those who are still recovering, and certainly to the two law enforcement agents who put their lives on the line in jeopardy. Thank them for their service and wish them a speedy recovery. The concern now is, how do we recover from this? What do we need to do? I understand there was a 2019 study that identified weaknesses that may not have been corrected. We know that Canal Street is now wider than one vehicle. Perhaps we needed 2 dump trucks, or we needed 3 vehicles to prevent someone from making it to the sidewalk. We also know that in the second 100 block of Iberville and Bourbon, if the bollards had been up, those sidewalks are too narrow. A car could not have gotten along it. But at the risk of playing Monday morning quarterback, rather than going backwards, we now need to do a complete diagnostic of the French Quarter on all of its safety entrances and exits to make sure that we are anticipating what we sometimes can anticipate, and that is a terrorist threat. But in 2025, we know that terrorist threats are real, and they come more frequently than we would ever hope them to be. So now we have to make sure that we're utilizing the best practices, the best technology, utilizing our federal, local, and state law enforcement partners to create the best system of protection. We know that in New Orleans, our New Orleans Police Department and surrounding sheriff's offices have partnered to create the best security. NOPD manages large events better than anyone else, from the Republican National Convention to Super Bowls past to Sugar Bowls every year, Final Four games, Mardi Gras, Jazz Festival. NOP does it best. What happened on New Year's Eve was a terrorist attack that could have happened anywhere. Let's learn from it. Let's demonstrate our strength as a strong community, and let's send a message to the bad guys. We will not let you get away with this.
Yeah, Representative Carter, you just mentioned that 2019 study mentioning that the French Quarter was vulnerable to an attack specifically from a vehicle. Now, you know, New Orleans is one of America's favorite cities. It's where people go to celebrate. It has such a renowned history as well as, you know, title among folks here in the U.S. What is your message to those who might be watching, who might be second-guessing whether or not they want to visit for these upcoming, you know, Mardi Gras celebrations as well as the Super Bowl?
I would tell them, listen, we understand your concern, but I would reassure them that New Orleans is far safer today than it was yesterday, and it will continue to be safer. And I will also tell you that what happened on New Year's Eve was a random act of terrorism that could have happened anywhere in America. There was no protection against some random coward who sought to wreak havoc. New Orleans is the best place to manage large-scale events. We have millions of people to come to New Orleans every day to enjoy our food, our culture, our architecture, to have your conferences, to have your sporting events, to recreate with your family and those who live here. We will double down our efforts to make sure that this act of terror will not define us, that this act of terror will not stop the culture, the business, the beauty that New Orleans has to offer. We're a resilient people. We embrace our citizens, and we embrace our guests, and we make sure that they're safe.
Excuse me, Representative, we only have about two more questions, 2 more minutes, but I just want to ask one more question. You just reinforced what we heard from officials shortly after this attack happened. What is You said that it is being taken care of. We heard from officials saying that there are issues that are being worked through, but what is the first step in addressing those issues?
I think the first step is to look at the 2019 study, to instead of going do another study, let's look at the bare bones of that and let's immediately do that. My understanding is that that's happening as we speak, that the breach on Canal Street has been corrected, that there now are cement or bollards that are out that will protect someone from trying to traverse the sidewalk. Second is to utilize the best practices that DOJ and Homeland Security has. Listen, we have the best and brightest in the FBI. We have the best and brightest in Department of Justice. We have the best and brightest in Homeland Security, in our military, in our local NOPD, and in our sheriffs and our state police. We have to collaborate with all of them to ensure that we're looking at past practices and building on them. And in order to do that, we have to do a complete diagnostic. Now, this is not something that takes weeks. This is something that I suspect is happening even as we speak, which means the security features that are in place will only be hardened and made better in the coming days. And we are going to be more than prepared. We will not let the lives that were lost during New Year's Eve be in vain. We will use them as a constant reminder of how we have to push back against terrorism.
Congressman, thank you so much for taking the time to address some of those questions and joining us here on Scripps News, especially with such a busy day on the Hill with the re-election of the Speaker of the House. Thank you so much. Stay safe and have a good 2025.
You as well. Thank you.